So we've all heard the old saying, you never meet your heroes. You know, the theory behind that is that they can't always live up to your expectations. This adage rings true, especially when you meet celebrities and realize, hey, they're just human. But what if they're not human? Can a car be so overinflated in your mind that when you meet it, know it, drive it, you leave disappointed? Yeah and no. A few weeks ago, I had the pleasure of driving down to New Orleans to NOLA Motorsports Park to drive two cars that have been on my bucket list since high school. The Ferrari 458 Italia and the Lamborghini Gallardo LP560-4 at, like I said, NOLA Motorsports Park in conjunction with Xtreme Xperience, who has a permanent location at NOLA. There you can pick between full course or the sprint, which is basically an autocross track. We went with the sprint course because I love autocross. Quick side note, Xtreme Xperience didn't pay me for any of this or give me anything for free. The following plug is because the crew there is just that awesome. If you go after reading this or watching this, please mention me. Maybe, they'll let me get another go on the 458. I honestly had no clue what to expect when I got to the track. Xtreme had all the bases covered though. They walk you through a very informative class geared mainly towards people whose idea of exuberant driving is that moment that they get on the gas a little too hard in the wet and their F-150 King Ranch Edition spins its tires a little. Now, this is so much better than the alternative of saying, thanks for your cash, here's the keys to something faster and more capable than anything you've ever touched, go nuts. Xtreme also gives you something more important than thorough prep. They give you an experienced, trained driver in the car, giving you instant feedback. My ride-along was Walter. Walter is a frickin' rock star. Before we went out to the course, I talked to him a little. He asked if I had any prior experience. I said, some. I've autocrossed for about a year and a half, and I haven't killed anyone, so I've got that going for me. He says, cool. So you should have an idea how the track works. I said, yeah, but I'm still having a little trouble reading a racing line and figuring out braking points and and I can't catch an Evo. Then let's fix it. Right, so over the next hour or so, in two ridiculously powerful and expensive Italian thoroughbreds, Walter and I worked on some of my basic track management that I had never even thought of working before. I'll probably go over this in a future article or video because hopefully this will really help me improve my driving during my next autocross event and maybe, just maybe, get a little closer to that elusive Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 10 and Jim Veillon. Dang it. Well, enough about my vendetta with the blue Mitsubishi. If you want to see more of that or hear me talk more about trying to, drive fast and not suck, let me know. Maybe we'll make that a recurring thing. Let's talk about crazy fast mid-engine cars now. This isn't a comparison by any means because I literally got to do 4 laps in each of these on an autocross track, but I will pick a favorite because I had one, and this is my channel, and I can do that. First, let's talk about the Lamborghini Gallardo LP560-4. Do you have to say the dash? Is that a thing? This was the one that I was by far the most excited about. I mean, I've read about this thing since I was in high school. This baby bull had a huge impact on my evolution as a car nerd. The entry-level Lambo also had a huge impact on the Lamborghini as a whole. I mean, it sold more than any other Lamborghini over the last decade, becoming the best-selling car in the Marquis' history. The sheer success made Lamborghini and, well, Audi and Volkswagen put in extra effort into its follow-up, the Huracan. This was the moment I'd been waiting for since I read about the Gallardo. I was psyched, pumped, and really any other word that conveys extreme excitement. Then I was underwhelmed. I mean, I liked the Gallardo's looks and interior over the 458, and that's purely a taste thing. I mean, the 458 is growing on me now. But the Gallardo has that sort of pent-up aggression. After I drove it, I couldn't really help but feel like it was fighting back. To put it briefly, the Gallardo feels like you think a Lamborghini should feel. It fights you. If you want to go fast, you have to prove yourself worthy. The steering feels hundreds of pounds heavier than the 458s. As soon as you take your foot off the gas at low RPMs, the all-wheel drive running gear feels almost like an engine brake. It's because of this that I feel it's not that easy to cruise around in. You know, this may be remedied with a proper 6-speed manual, but the e-gear equipped car that I drove was very herky-jerky. Let's restate the obvious. The Gallardo is not a comfortable or easy car to drive slow. That being said, it works so well when you use it for its intended purpose. It doesn't accelerate. It fights against gravity and physics to create speed, and it wins every time. On the tight track, the Gallardo's hefty steering was great for placing the car exactly where it needed to be, but I wish it had been a little tighter. In the hairpin turns, the Gallardo required almost a full turn of the wheel, leaving my arms completely crossed. Now, depending on who you ask, this is a good or bad thing. While I'm not experienced enough to give an educated opinion, I will say it was harder to straighten out and get back on the gas after the hairpin than the 458. But when you get on the gas and pointed straight, the Gallardo is a rocket. The all-wheel drive system does an amazing job of putting down all 560 horses. All in all, the Gallardo is exactly what you think a Lamborghini will be. It's loud, hard, and makes you earn every turn and brace for every straightaway. I feel like the Gallardo would have been a more impressive drive if I haven't drove the 458 first. Ferruccio knew what he was doing when he chose the bull as an emblem of his brand. The Gallardo is a wild ride, especially if you can manage it for more than 8 seconds. The Ferrari 458 Italia. 5 years ago, even 2 years ago for that matter. If you would have asked me to choose one of these two Italians, it would have been the Gallardo every time. Even now, in my opinion, the Gallardo is the looker. It just oozes pent-up aggression. And if I were to buy a supercar, it would need to look mad. That being said, the older the design of the 458 gets, the more beautiful it gets in my eyes. I think in 20 years, the 458 will still be looked at as a design icon for its smooth flowing line. The interior is minimalist in its execution, giving you nothing outside the gauge cluster to distract you from the task at hand. It doesn't look nearly as luxurious as the Lambo, but it does impart function over form, a place for everything, and everything in its place. Where the Gallardo makes you work for every turn, like it's challenging you, the 458 is more like a partner in speed. The 458 makes you feel like you can do anything on any track at any time. Also, when the Gallardo feels clunky at low speed, the 458 feels infinitely smoother. It's still no marshmallow Cadillac, but it is more comfortable than the Lambo at low speeds. On the track, the 458 feels like it's in a different league than the Gallardo. They both create ludicrous speed, but they go about it in completely different ways. The 458 feels precise and otherworldly smooth in its execution of every turn you introduce it to, and it grips like duct tape. The tires would squeal but never let go. The steering was much easier than the Gallardo. The precision in the Ferrari comes from feedback instead of weight. You can always tell exactly where you need to be and get there with no fuss. The 458 has two jobs. It encourages you to go fast, and then it makes you look good doing it. The 458 imparts a sense of balance like no other car I've ever driven, and it builds speed in such a predictable fashion that you feel like you can point and shoot it out of any corner. When it comes to the tiller, you're not fighting it. You're using some form of telepathy to imagine it in one spot, and before you know it, there you are. The same turns that had me working overtime in the Baby Bull were smooth and direct in the Prancing Horse. It creates effortless speed and feels amazing while you're doing it. This is why the 458 has to be my favorite of the two now. The Gallardo is still a phenomenal machine and worthy of desire in so many ways, but it doesn't have that confidence-inspiring balance and predictability that the 458 has. If I had a Gallardo, it would only be relegated to weekends in the occasional autocross event. But if I had a 458, it would be driven on most days that end in Y. Every autocross, I would attend enough high-performance driving day events that my local tire supplier would have my name and debit card information memorized. It ultimately comes down to a choice. Do you want to drive faster or look faster? Neither of these cars are a bad choice. Just one of them is better. Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I had a blast making it. If you want to see more driven videos like this, give this video a like and, tell me you want more in the comments. Because these do take a little longer than what I usually do, but if it's something you want to see, something you enjoy, I'll do it. Just let me know. And, hey, if you enjoyed this, hit the subscribe button. It's right there. Down there. Red button. No, to the left. Yeah, that one. Thanks.